Hi, this is Tino. We're at Winter NAMM in Anaheim, California. I'm with Cousin B. He's an artist, engineer, producer, mixer, resident engineer currently at Aspen's place. You're doing a residency there. And you're part of the Hollywood Sapphire group.
Yes.
Talk about, you were recently, you took something to Bernie Grundman. Tell us about that.
I did. I had a very interesting project for Phil Screecher, the executive producer of Supernatural. He's got a side project where he produces bands and records them. And I had the pleasure of recording a ragtime band that he's producing. A traditional ragtime, horns, accordions, banjos, the whole shot. Recorded live at Aspen's place in our large room and mixed. And we went to Bernie Grundman to master, who's
and himself.
One of the top guys in the industry, and we went with Bernie himself, not just his office.
Right.
And halfway through the first mix, Bernie told me that the stuff could go unmastered, basically. That his words were,
flat.
Your stuff could go flat, which in mastering terms means I didn't have to do anything to it, which is the highest compliment that a mastering engineer can give you, much less one of the top mastering engineers in the world.
How did you achieve that, though? Did you learn it through maybe reconnecting with some of the old-timers at the Sapphire group? And I hate to use the word old-timers, but...
Well, I prefer veterans.
Seasoned, right.
Seasoned veterans is better, yeah. Actually, this way this worked out was because of the Sapphire group, I met Michael Boddicker. And Michael Boddicker gave me some great insights into mixing techniques and recording techniques in general. As well as being such a great player and coming and doing some tracks for me on some other projects. So I've had a good rapport with him, and he taught me a great little technique to use when I'm mixing that we call kiss, kiss, slam. You use two compressors in a row very gently and then a limiter after them to do your final leveling. And I explained this to Bernie Grundman. This was how I recorded, and he says, well, basically that's what we do.
In the mastering room?
In the mastering room.
Wow.
So Michael Boddicker had taught me some mastering tricks that I employ in my mixes, and the result was that Bernie Grundman didn't have to turn on a compressor when he was mastering us.
So no fixing in the post when you do it right during production?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, actually the post-production, the mix,
actually,
was where I employed this technique, and it reduced mastering to just a romp in the park, just having fun with the sound.
Wow. That's an amazing story, that attributes a lot. Young engineers, just getting out of recording school, young audiophiles, I pushed them to Hollywood Sapphire Group, and I send them to your page usually. What do you want to speak to those young guys in their 20s? They're just starting out like when you were. How important it is to actually network with these veterans? Well,
it's crucial to not only to let yourself be exposed to them and to what they know, what they have to say, but it's really crucial to know what they know about how recording works, how audio works. And all the techniques that I'm using that give me the best results are techniques that date back to the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Because it's just how you handle audio. It's, any machine can sound great or horrible if you know what you're doing with it or don't. And the experience I've had is that the more tried and true and direct your technique, the better your result is going to be. So, for example, a lot of people like to use a lot of plugins and outboard gear when they record, and they're EQing and affecting and shaping the sound as they go. And I was like that when I started, but since then I've grown, and now I just concentrate on the sound I'm recording. I get the microphone that fits it best, or the signal chain that fits it best, and I don't even plug in an EQ unless I have to actually fix something that's really drastic. So I've taken to this norm of recording as flat and as present as I can for each instrument, treating each instrument on its own.
Right.
And this is the way that Bob Dylan was recorded. This is the way that the Beatles were recorded. This is just the standard practice from the highest levels of audio. And we tend to forget that as we come down to the semi-pro ranks,
right,
and use more and more sophisticated machinery. But when you're using a box that has a whole bunch of presets, just because one preset sounds good, that doesn't mean that's the best thing for the audio.
Interesting.
So I find myself in Pro Tools using the very simplest plugins, the ones that come with Pro Tools free. They're the easiest to use, they're the most adaptable, and they act the most like the original gear that I'm trying to
emulate.
To emulate.
Wow. How can people get in contact with you? You're at Aspen's place again. If you have to be a real band to actually record there.
No. I'm a producer, arranger, and multi-instrumentalist myself, and I do a lot of projects where I'm producing and playing instruments with the artist and putting out a whole album. I'm working with 2 singer-songwriters right now. One of them, Preston Sturgis, the son of the filmmaker Sturgis, who did Sullivan's Travels. Mm-hmm. We're doing an album with him, and it's just the 2 of us basically, and a few session players where we need it, playing all the instruments.
Interesting. Wow.
And on that project, I'm playing most of the bass. I'm playing all of the keyboards. I'm playing all of the acoustic guitars and a couple of electric guitars.
And you started with live drums?
No, we started with me. Wow. I programmed the MIDI drums in a basic ballpark of where the song wants to be, and we build up the bed tracks, and then we bring in a drummer.
Awesome.
And there's something together that he can hear and know what to play to.
Interesting.
So all the songs have live drums on them.
Right.
But they all started with me doing a MIDI approximation just to get the ball rolling.
Interesting. Real interesting. How can we find you online? Where are you? Easiest
place to find me is Aspen's Place Recording, and on Facebook as Cousin B, or Brian Ascenzo, or Aspen's Place Recording on Facebook.
Awesome.
We have pages for all those.
And every month at the Hollywood Sapphire Group, which we hope MusicUCanSee can actually get our foot in the door and actually do one of your meetings.
I'd love to have you guys out there. It would really be great.
That'd be cool. Well, this is Tino. We're at Winter NAMM in Anaheim, California. Cousin B, Aspen's Place.